Well, yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
Clark Schmidt
I
is a huge, huge thing going forward. That's one thing that needs to be addressed while we're on this and hitting as hard as we are, because he kind of fits that same mold as Mike King. As somebody who is a fringe starter, being up and down, he's got the stuff and it plays up in the bullpen. I think Clark Schmidt. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying he's going to be as effective as Mike King. Certainly, I think he could. I don't think it's a stretch to think that Clark Schmidt could come in and be pretty close to what Michael King was. He needs to do it. He's never done it, so it's a huge question mark, and you don't want a question mark coming down the stretch of a historic season going into October. But I mean, he's no more of a question mark than Michael King was coming into this season. Michael King's never thrown those innings in October. He's never thrown that workload. It's something I've talked about for months now, as I'm interested to see how these relievers do come August, September, because they've never thrown this volume. And I think Clark Schmidt he's how this whole thing goes now. There's more pressure on him than I think people realize, because he has to fill that role. He fits it to a T, and he has to fill it at least serviceable. He can't come in and be a mop up, come in and you're losing by 4, you bring in Clark Schmidt. He's going to see some high leverage spots, and he has to, like I said, he has to be at least somewhat of what Michael King was if this team's going to go far, unless they trade for somebody huge. But even then, I still think you need to get meaningful innings out of Clark Schmidt.
I'd rather see him over Domingo Germán ever again.
Oh,
His
well,
outing
that's
was
no fucking brainer.
god awful.
I mean,
oh my
Domingo
gosh.
Germán went 3 innings. How many runs did he give up?
5.
He just looked
Maybe
terrible.
6.
And we were
Too
watching
many.
the game too. We were streaming it, and Damon, I think at the time, was like, this is when he gave up like 2 runs. We were like, Damon's like, he's good for like 6 more. And we all were like laughing it off. Like, I hope that's not the case, because he did show signs of life last year, and he's got talent for sure. But like, and maybe he'll shake off the rust. But that was a bad intro for sure. And I think it's less of the Domingo Germán slander that I would make that statement about Clark Schmidt. It's more of just trusting Clark Schmidt, because Clark Schmidt was doing awesome before he got sent down before. We were all pissed about it, but we kind of understood, because at the time the rest of the starters were dealing, and so was the bullpen. Every single pitcher had a place, and he just had options. He was the one that he was the odd man out. But now when, Mike King goes down, Luis Severino goes down, there's no reason why Clark Schmidt shouldn't be up on this roster and have an effective
right now.
Yeah.